An 82-year-old Korean War veteran opens an eviction notice and his hands start shaking. After 40 years in the same apartment, paying every single rent check on time, he's being thrown out in 30 days. The landlord, a man half his age who inherited the building and wants to turn it into luxury condos. When they stand before Judge Frank Caprio, the landlord smirks and says something so disrespectful about veterans that the entire courtroom gasps. But Judge Caprio knows something this arrogant landlord doesn't, a secret buried in the property deed that will change everything. Before we reveal what Judge Caprio uncovers, only 5% of you are subscribed. If you believe veterans deserve respect and a place to call home, hit that subscribe button now. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? It's a quiet Wednesday morning in Providence Municipal Court. Judge Frank Caprio reviews his case files, but one folder catches his attention. The name Harold Chen, age 82, Korean War veteran. Facing eviction after 40 years of tenancy, Judge Caprio has been on the bench for nearly 40 years, and he's learned to sense when a case isn't just about paperwork, it's about principles. This is one of those cases. The courtroom doors open. Harold Chen enters slowly, using a wooden cane his late wife gave him on their 50th wedding anniversary. He's wearing a pressed button-down shirt, his Korean War veteran cap, and the dignity that comes from a lifetime of service and hard work. His daughter Susan walks beside him, her hand gently supporting his elbow. Behind them, the landlord enters. Marcus Brennan is 38 years old, wearing an expensive tailored suit, designer watch glinting under the courtroom lights. He's carrying a leather briefcase and the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. He doesn't look at Harold, doesn't acknowledge him. He's already mentally spending the millions those luxury condos will bring. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork, and those kind eyes that have shown compassion to thousands, take in the scene immediately. An elderly veteran struggling to walk, a middle-aged man treating this like a business meeting. The judge already knows which side needs protecting. The bailiff calls the case. Harold Chen versus Marcus Brennan, civil matter regarding lease termination and eviction. Judge Caprio nods to Harold. Mr. Chen, please approach the bench, and please take your time. Harold walks forward slowly. When he reaches the podium, he steadies himself with both hands. His voice when he speaks is quiet but firm. Your Honor, I'm here because I'm being thrown out of my home after 40 years. Judge Caprio's expression softens. Mr. Chen, I've reviewed your file. You've lived in this apartment since 1983. Yes, Your Honor. My wife and I moved in when our daughter Susan was just 2 years old. We raised her there. My wife passed away in that apartment 3 years ago. It's all I have left of her. Marcus Brennan shifts impatiently. Judge Caprio notices, but says nothing. Not yet. Judge Caprio turns to Marcus. Mr. Brennan, you're the property owner. Can you explain why Mr. Chen is being evicted? Marcus steps forward with practiced ease. Your Honor, this is a straightforward lease termination. Mr. Chen has been on a month-to-month lease for the past 2 years. I provided him with 30 days' notice, which exceeds the legal requirement. I'm planning to renovate the building and convert it to condominiums. This is a business decision. Judge Caprio removes his glasses, his signature move when something doesn't sit right. A business decision. Mr. Brennan, how long have you owned this property? 18 months, Your Honor. I inherited it from my uncle. And in those 18 months, has Mr. Chen ever been late with rent? Marcus hesitates for just a moment. No, Your Honor. Has he ever violated the lease terms, damaged property, caused complaints? No, but has he been anything other than a model tenant? Marcus's jaw tightens. Your Honor, with respect, those factors don't change my legal right to terminate his lease. I've followed all procedures. This is my property, and I have plans for it. Harold's daughter, Susan, speaks up from her seat. Your Honor, may I say something? Judge Caprio nods. Please, come forward and state your name. Susan Chen approaches, standing beside her father. Your Honor, I'm Susan Chen. I'm a school teacher here in Providence. My father isn't just losing an apartment, he's losing his home. Every memory of my mother is in that place. The kitchen where she cooked Sunday dinners. The living room where they watched TV together every evening. The bedroom where she took her last breath with my father holding her hand. Her voice cracks slightly, but she continues. My father is 82 years old. He's on a fixed income, Social Security, and a small pension from working 35 years at the post office. He can't afford what Mr. Brennan is planning to charge for those condos, and finding another affordable apartment in Providence at his age, it's nearly impossible. Marcus interrupts. Your Honor, I sympathize with Mr. Chen's situation, but sentiment doesn't override property rights. I'm not running a charity, I'm running a business. Judge Caprio's eyes narrow. Mr. Brennan, do you know what Mr. Chen did before he worked at the post office? Marcus shrugs. I'm aware he's a veteran, if that's what you're asking. Do you know where he served? Korea, I assume, based on his hat. Do you know what he did there? Marcus's patience is wearing thin. Your Honor, I don't see how. Judge Caprio's voice sharpens. Answer the question, Mr. Brennan. No, Your Honor. I don't know the specifics of his service. Judge Caprio turns to Harold. Mr. Chen, would you please tell Mr. Brennan and this court about your service? Harold stands a little straighter, even with the cane. Your Honor, I served in the United States Army from 1951 to 1953. I was 18 years old when I deployed to Korea. I was a combat medic with the 2nd Infantry Division. I was at Heartbreak Ridge. I carried wounded soldiers off that battlefield while artillery shells were falling around us. I watched boys, because that's what we were, boys, die in my arms. The courtroom is completely silent. Harold continues, his voice steady despite the emotion. I came home with the Bronze Star and wounds I still carry. I spent the next 35 years delivering mail because I wanted to serve my community in peacetime the way I served my country in war. I never asked for special treatment. I just wanted a quiet place to live, to raise my daughter, to grow old with my wife. That apartment gave me that. Judge Caprio opens the file in front of him and pulls out several documents. Mr. Brennan, you said you inherited this property from your uncle. What was your uncle's name? Robert Brennan, Your Honor. And do you know how your uncle acquired this property? Marcus looks uncertain for the first time. I believe he purchased it in the early 1980s. I don't know all the details. Judge Caprio holds up a document. This is the original property deed from 1982. Your uncle purchased this building using a VA loan, a Veterans Administration loan. Do you know what that is? Marcus shifts uncomfortably. A loan for veterans. Not quite. It's a loan program designed to help veterans like Mr. Chen purchase homes. It's one of the benefits this nation provides to those who served. Your uncle, Robert Brennan, was a Vietnam War veteran. He qualified for this loan because of his military service. Judge Caprio pulls out another document. This is a letter your uncle wrote to the Providence Housing Authority in 1983. In it, he specifically states that he wanted to provide affordable housing for working families and fellow veterans because he understood the struggles they faced. Marcus's face pales slightly. Judge Caprio continues, his voice growing stronger. Your uncle created affordable housing because he was a veteran who believed in helping others. And now you, his nephew, are using that same property, purchased with veteran benefits, to evict an elderly veteran so you can build luxury condos. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Several people shake their heads in disgust, but Judge Caprio isn't finished. He pulls out one more document. Mr. Brennan, there's something else you should know. I did some research into your family history. Your uncle Robert served in Vietnam. He was severely wounded in 1969. Do you know who saved his life? Marcus says nothing. A medic, a combat medic, who pulled him from a burning vehicle while under enemy fire. Your uncle wrote about it in his journal, which his widow provided to me. He said that medic was the reason he came home, the reason he was able to build a life, the reason he could purchase that building and help other veterans. Judge Caprio looks directly at Marcus. Your uncle spent his life honoring the medic who saved him by helping other veterans, and you're spitting on that legacy by evicting Mr. Chen. Marcus tries to recover. Your Honor, I didn't know about the letter or my uncle's intentions, but that doesn't change the legal reality. The property is mine now. I have the right to do with it as I choose. Judge Caprio stands, rare and significant. You have legal rights, Mr. Brennan, but you also have moral obligations. Your uncle understood that. Apparently, you don't. The judge walks around the bench, something he does only when a case demands it. Mr. Brennan, let me tell you what I see. I see a young man who inherited something he didn't earn. I see someone who looks at an 82-year-old veteran and sees nothing but an obstacle to profit. I see a person who would dishonor his own uncle's legacy for money. Marcus's confidence is crumbling. Your Honor, I'm not dishonoring anything. I'm making a business decision. Business, Judge Caprio repeats quietly. Mr. Chen, how much is your current rent? Harold speaks softly. $850 a month, Your Honor. And you've never missed a payment in 40 years? Never, Your Honor. Not once. Judge Caprio turns back to Marcus. Mr. Brennan, how much do you plan to sell these condos for? Marcus hesitates. The market rate would be approximately $450,000 to $600,000 per unit. And there are how many units in the building? 12. Judge Caprio does the math aloud. So you're looking at somewhere between $5 and $7 million in total sales, and you can't let an 82-year-old veteran continue paying $850 a month in the apartment he's called home for 40 years. Before Marcus can answer, a voice calls out from the gallery. Your Honor, may I speak? An elderly woman stands slowly. Judge Caprio nods. Please, ma'am, state your name. Margaret Brennan, Your Honor. I'm Robert Brennan's widow. Marcus is my nephew by marriage. She walks forward with quiet dignity. Your Honor, my husband would be heartbroken if he knew what Marcus was doing. Robert bought that building specifically to help people like Mr. Chen. He charged below market rent on purpose. He wanted to create a place where working families and veterans could afford to live with dignity. Margaret turns to Marcus, tears in her eyes. Marcus, your uncle loved you. He left you that property hoping you would continue his mission. He wanted you to help people, not throw them out. Marcus looks at the floor, unable to meet her gaze. Judge Caprio returns to the bench and sits down slowly, his hands folded in front of him. The courtroom is absolutely silent, waiting. Mr. Brennan, the judge begins, his voice carrying the weight of decades of wisdom. I've been on this bench for nearly 40 years. I've seen thousands of cases. I've seen people at their worst and at their best. And I've learned something important. The law is designed to protect the vulnerable from the powerful. He pauses, letting the words sink in. You came into this courtroom believing that because you own the property, you have unlimited power to do as you please, but property ownership comes with responsibilities. Your uncle understood that. He used his veteran benefits to create something good, affordable housing for people who needed it. He honored the medic who saved his life by helping other veterans. Judge Caprio's voice grows firmer. You inherited more than just a building, Mr. Brennan. You inherited a legacy, and you've chosen to betray it. Marcus opens his mouth to speak, but Judge Caprio holds up his hand. Here is my ruling. Mr. Chen's lease was month to month, which means you technically have the legal right to terminate it with proper notice. However, I'm invoking my authority to extend that notice period to 6 months, giving Mr. Chen adequate time to find suitable alternative housing. Marcus looks relieved for a moment, until Judge Caprio continues. Furthermore, I'm ordering you to pay Mr. Chen's moving expenses up to $5,000. You will also pay for a housing consultant to help him find affordable accommodations suitable for an 82-year-old veteran with mobility limitations. Your Honor, I'm not finished, Judge Caprio says, his voice like steel wrapped in compassion. Additionally, when you convert this building, you will designate one full condominium unit, to be sold at below market rate to a veteran or veteran's family. That unit will be offered at no more than $150,000, roughly 1/3 of your projected market rate. This condition will be written into the building's deed restriction permanently. The courtroom erupts in applause. Marcus stands frozen, his face a mixture of shock and anger. But Your Honor, Marcus protests, that will cost me hundreds of thousands in lost revenue. Judge Caprio's response is immediate and devastating. Mr. Brennan, your uncle gave his body in service to this country. He lived with shrapnel in his leg for the rest of his life. He had nightmares about Vietnam until the day he died. And when he came home, he chose to honor the medic who saved him by helping others. The judge leans forward. You've never sacrificed anything. You inherited wealth you didn't earn. And now, you're being asked to give back a fraction of that wealth to honor your uncle's memory and help a man who served this country the way your uncle did. That's not a punishment, Mr. Brennan. That's an opportunity to do the right thing. Marcus's lawyer stands. Your Honor will appeal this ruling. Judge Caprio nods calmly. That is your right, but I assure you, any appeals court will review the fact that you're using veteran benefits to harm veterans, and they will not look favorably on that. He turns to Harold. Mr. Chen, you have 6 months. My office will provide you with resources to help find appropriate housing. And I want you to know something. This this city, and this nation honor your service. Harold's eyes well with tears. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. As the hearing concludes, Margaret Brennan approaches Marcus in the hallway outside the courtroom. The conversation is quiet but intense. Marcus, she says gently, your uncle would have wanted better from you. Marcus's anger has faded, replaced by something that might be shame. Aunt Margaret, I didn't mean to dishonor Uncle Robert. I saw an opportunity. And what did that opportunity cost you? She asks. Your integrity? Your family's respect? The chance to continue something good? Marcus has no answer. Inside the courtroom, Harold Chen sits with his daughter Susan, both of them overwhelmed with relief and emotion. Judge Caprio approaches them, something he rarely does after a ruling. Mr. Chen, the judge says quietly, I want you to know that what happened here today isn't charity. It's justice. You earned the right to be treated with dignity when you put on that uniform and served this country. Harold shakes the judge's hand with both of his. Your Honor, you didn't just save my home today. You saved my faith that people still care. Judge Caprio smiles, that warm, genuine smile that has made him beloved by millions. Mr. Chen, people do care. Sometimes they just need to be reminded. 6 months later, Harold Chen moved into a beautiful ground-floor apartment in a veteran-friendly housing complex. The rent was affordable, the neighbors were kind, and he could finally breathe without fear of eviction. Marcus Brennan completed his condominium conversion. One unit, as ordered, was sold below market rate to a disabled Marine Corps veteran and her family. When Marcus attended the closing and met the veteran, a young woman who lost her leg in Afghanistan, something shifted in him. He started a foundation in his uncle's name, providing housing assistance to veterans. It didn't erase his mistake, but it honored his uncle's legacy in a way that mattered. And Judge Frank Caprio? He continued doing what he's done for nearly 4 decades, protecting the vulnerable, holding the powerful accountable, and reminding us all that justice isn't just about the law, it's about humanity. If this story restored your faith in the system, hit that like button. If you believe our veterans deserve respect and dignity, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more stories that prove compassion and accountability can coexist, subscribe to this channel right now. Remember Judge Caprio's words. Property ownership comes with responsibilities. Wealth without compassion is just greed, and those who served this country deserve better than to be treated as obstacles to profit. Justice served, legacy honored. Comment below where you're watching from and tell me, do you know a veteran who deserves recognition? Share their story. Let's honor them together.